driving. Hope comes and stops us in our tracks. Bravely we prove in our striving, trudging together each day. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's Dion, and it's time for the daily reflections. Good afternoon, Jackie. Good to see you. It was one of those days where I slept in. I need that every now and again. Woke up to my cats destroying the place. Guess they wanted me up. Man. Been kind of a weird week. Up and down. If you're here, please say hello, whether you're watching the live or the rewatch. Got a couple. Hey, Kenny. Got an OA coming out today, an OA podcast. Gary's been kicking butt on getting people in. He had a pretty good speaker last night. I caught part of it, and this guy really knew what he was talking about. So I'm looking forward to getting that out. Our producer is back. Yes, my cats do actually like me. No, they love me. It's just that they have they don't have a very big area, so I can't, this is their own little world. I'm actually thinking about making a little outdoor thing for them to help them out. But the deal was that they were going to be allowed to go around the house, but that didn't work out. So I can't really blame them. And yeah, they do. They don't like me, but they do love me. They love me because I feed them. I take I scoop their poop, and when they need love, they come to me. So, and they're actually pretty cuddly. So they don't like being held. Weird. Okay, we're done talking about Dion's cats, even though they're very interesting. You guys missed my last cat. He was the coolest cat in the whole world, and I fucking miss him. Somebody stole him. So I just hope that he is doing for them what he did for me, because he actually got me through a lot. He actually got me through a lot of stuff. He was my emotional support kitty. All right, so the limits of self-reliance. It's pretty short. The actual daily reflection is short. I'm going to read out of the book. I'm going to go into it a little bit more. What they said in here was, we asked ourselves why we had them fears. Wasn't it because self-reliance failed us? Now I'm going to go back a little bit further. I think that was on page 68. I'm going to go back to 66. So we can get a little bit more in depth of what we're talking about here. Because it isn't just about, fear is the root of it all. But what is it that we're talking about? So it is plain that a life which includes deep resentment leads only to futility and unhappiness. To the precise extent that we permit these, do we squander the hours that we might have been worthwhile. But the alcoholic whose hope is maintenance and growth of a spiritual experience, this business of resentment is infinitely grave. We have found that it is fatal. Hi, Jerry. Good to see you. So it says here, we found that it is fatal. For harboring such feelings, we shut ourselves off from the sunlight of the spirit. The insanity of alcohol returns and we drink again. And with us, to drink is to die. It's not just the drink. Holding in anger will kill you. Eventually, it will kill you. If alcohol doesn't get you, your heart's going to go pop. There's my cat looking over the kittens. Kittens. If we were to live, we have to be free of anger. The grouch and the brainstorm were not for us. See, here's one. He's like, what? You got food? They figured out how to open my drawer where I keep all the cat treats. They also figured out how to open the fridge. So they got a lot of time on their hands. So we had to be free. They may be the dubious luxury of normal men, and they're not. Anger is not a dubious luxury of normal men. Sorry. I know a lot of normies and a lot of men, and they all have a fucking anger problem. Every single one of them. Every single one of them. I don't care if you've ever put alcohol in your body or that you have an addiction or no addiction. Men in general just have an anger problem. So now take your anger problem times it by about 10 because that's the fatality of the news. Anger will fuck up your whole life. And you don't need alcohol and drugs in order to be angry. You don't. I know you don't because I don't. We turn back to the list for it held the key to the future. We're talking about our grudge list. Okay? Our 4-step list. We were prepared to look at it from an entirely in different angle. We began to see that the world and its people really dominated us and that we allowed that. We actually permitted it. We actually handed out, we would sign over our frickin' life if that's what it meant that we got what we wanted. In that state, the wrongdoing of others, fancied or real, had the power to actually kill. How could we escape? We saw that these resentments must be mastered, but how? We could not wish them away any more than alcohol. So, what's going to be the first thing? I'm going to go into a little bit of therapy here. What's the first thing? Awareness. Awareness that it's even going on. That we were allowing other people to control who we were. And we were permitting it. We actually wanted it because it gave us excuses to continue our behavior. They weren't legitimate excuses, but for us, they were good enough in our brain, weren't they? We began to see blah, 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 blah. This was our course. We realized that the people who wronged us were perhaps spiritually sick. Can you look at it a different way now? That maybe that person wasn't actually just going after you, but they were actually spiritually sick and therefore could not help themselves. This is how I work it. But for the grace of God, there go I. That is me. Every other person that I see, good, bad, or indifferent, I have the capability of doing it also. Doesn't matter what it is. Though we did not like their symptoms and the way they disturbed us, they, like ourselves, were sick too. We asked God to help us show the same tolerance, pity, and patience that we would cheerily grant a sick friend. When a person offends, we say to ourselves, this is a sick man. How can I be helpful to him? God save me from angry. Thy will be done. So how about we also ask God to help us show the same tolerance and pity, patience that was granted to us when we came into the rooms. I wasn't easy to deal with when I came in. Somebody had to come up to me and say, Dion, enough, dude. Enough. And it worked. We avoid retaliation and argument. I know it can be frustrating sometimes because you want them to see it and you just want to reach through the phone and right? Just like somebody wanted to do to you, but did not. There are going to be some times when you have to lead a horse to water. I know. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. Okay? I'm going to shove your head in there and make you wish you did. I am going to do everything that I can to ruin your drinking career. That's my job. That's what I do. And I'm very good at it. The other side of that is I'm also going to do everything that I can to make sure that you have a happy, joyous, and free life like me. Maybe not exactly like me. My life can be a little, maybe not for everybody. But for you to find your own place, your own passion, where you fit in this whole scheme of things. Because you fit. Everybody belongs here. Everybody that I meet is not by coincidence. That stuff doesn't happen in God's world. That means that I'm going to come across sick people like myself. Now, that doesn't mean I'm better than or more advanced than or anything else. It just means I'm in a different phase of life, and that's it. I am just as close to the next drink as anybody else. So I do what I can every day to assure my place in this program. We wouldn't treat sick people that way. If we do, we destroy our chance of being helpful. We cannot be helpful to all people, but at least God will show us how to take a kindly, tolerant view of each and every one. Sometimes you may not be able to help a person. So this is what I want you to go through your mind. Do I know somebody that would be a better fit for them? Take you out of the fucking equation. Just remove you. And you should be able to do that because you shouldn't have any emotions around somebody else's shit. Maybe empathy, but don't go into that sympathy card, man, unless you're looking for depression and anger. Referring to our list again, putting out of our minds the wrong others had done us. We resolutely looked for our own mistakes. Where had we been selfish, dishonest, self-seeking, and frightened? You do not need to be afraid of this process. Okay? What is the number one fear while writing a 4-step, I think? Hold on a second. You better get away from that. Their new favorite thing is playing with the internet cord. Do you guys just tune in for my cats? Probably, huh? Because they give me such a hard time. I gotta fix that. Literally, they're like, oh, there's one blue cord, even though I can't see color. Okay. So don't be afraid, right? What is the number one fear? Writing a 4-step. It is. Because we're going to actually have to take a look at ourselves. Let me tell you something. This is good news. It is very good news. It's going to be between you and your sponsor and God. That's it. If you do not trust your sponsor, go get a therapist. Go get somebody you do trust. But for God's sakes, just trust your sponsor. People that go away from their sponsor for their 5th step, I don't trust. I don't. It makes me think, what are they hiding? That's me. Right? I am sure that it has worked and I am wrong. Oops. Though a situation had not been entirely our fault, we tried to disregard the other person involved entirely. Where were we to blame? And this is the same kind of thought process that we're going to use on the 10th step. Because I don't know if everybody was here, but the whole key to doing a 4-step is not doing another one. Okay? That's what I was told. That's the key. Am I going to utilize the 4-step every now and again? Sure. There are some that get past me and I got to sit down, but I don't have to sit down and do the whole damn list again, right? I don't need to do that. If you do, you're not utilizing the 10th step. You're still on the 3rd. We do not have to put ourselves through this every fucking year. Once you have solved the problem, it is time to move on. Are you moving on? That's the question afterwards. So the first thing is going to be awareness, right? We're aware of what's going on. Okay. We know our part in it. And in this case, it isn't about what we're going to do. It's about what we're no longer going to do. Right? This is where you're going to find, oh, keeping my mouth shut is 90% of my problem. This is where you will figure that out. This is where you will figure out your boundaries. This is where you're going to figure out how you're going to act in life, who you actually are. You're taking stock, and not everything is bad. Not everything in you is bad. You have some very good qualities, and we're going to talk about those too. If I'm your sponsor, I'm going to be talking about your good qualities. Why? Because I'm going to want you to reinforce those. And if I tell you about them, you may not be aware of them. Then you know about them. Then you have the intention, and then you will be that person. Stop! Oh my God. How to get dad's attention. And they are trying to piss me off. Now you guys don't know what it's like when Dion actually gets mad. Yeah. I'll turn green. You won't be able to see me anymore. All right. Where were we to blame? The inventory was ours, not the other man's. When we saw our faults, we listed them. We placed them before us in black and white. We admitted our wrongs. And honestly, we were willing to set these matters straight. Okay, now we're going to get to the fear part and the self-reliance. Notice that the word fear is bracketed alongside the difficulties with Mr. Brown, Miss Jones, the employer, and the wife. This short word somehow touches about every aspect of our lives. It is an evil and corroding thread. The fabric of our existence was shot through with it. It set in motion trains of circumstances which brought us misfortune we felt we didn't deserve. But did we not ourselves set the ball rolling? Sometimes we think fear ought to be classed with stealing. It seems to cause more troubles. We reviewed our fears thoroughly. We put them on paper, even though we had no resentment or connection with them. Hey, Trish, good to see you. Okay, so we asked ourselves why we had them. Wasn't it because self-reliance failed us? Self-reliance was as good as far as it went, but it didn't go far enough. Some of us have great self-confidence, but didn't fully solve the fear problem or any other. When it made us cocky, it was worse. Now I'm going to let you know that fear is the basis of almost every fucking resentment you have. Go take a look at it. Fear, you're either going to lose something you already have, or that you're not going to get something you want or you think you deserve. Either loss or not gaining. Those are fears. And they will drive us. Think of money fear. Oh, gotta work. Perhaps there is a better way. We think so, for we are now on a different basis, the basis of trusting and relying upon God. So what is the opposite of fear? It is trust. And what is God's love language? Trust. How do you get rid of fear? Faith. We trust infinite God rather than our finite selves. We are in the world to play the role he assigns. Just to the extent that we do not think he would have us and humbly rely on him, does he enable us to match calamity with serenity. We never apologize to anyone for depending upon our Creator. We can laugh at those who think spirituality, the way of weakness, paradoxically, is the way of strength. The verdict of ages is that faith means courage. All men of faith have courage. They trust their God. We never apologize for God. Instead, we let him demonstrate through us what he can do. We ask him to remove our fear and direct our attention to what he would have us be. At once, we commenced to outgrow fear. All right. And of course, our porn people have showed up. Vom today. Thanks, Michi. Not even real names. All right. All my character defects separate me from God's will. When I ignore my association with him, I face the world and my alcoholism alone and must depend on self-reliance. I've never found security and happiness through self-will, and the only result is a life of fear and discontent. Yes, I'm a very stubborn person. I also don't stop. I never quit. I always go, but it was not enough for my alcoholism. It wasn't enough. I had to have God's help, period. Now I can take those same traits that I was trying to use to try and get sober, and I can use them to let God work through me. I just had it a little backwards. I had the cart before the horse. Now the horse is in the right place. My job is to just sit there and let God steer and do what I need to do. Stay sober, breathe in and out. He takes care of the rest, man. God provides the path back to him and his gifts of serenity and comfort. First, however, I must be willing to acknowledge my fears and understand their source and power over me. I frequently ask God to help me understand how I separate myself from him. You don't need to ask God to help you understand. You just need to stop doing it. It's not something you need to understand. There are some things in the program that you do not need to understand. You just need to do them. That is called trusting the process. You guys, this is just a little portion of books that I use. Yeah. You think the daily reflection is small? Takes a lot of work to put this on, this show, and a couple of cats, right? All right, guys, that's going to be it for daily reflection. Got some cool stuff coming up. We got No Way coming out today. Sergeant from the Aurora Police Department is going to come pick me up on Monday. We're going to go hang out at some homeless places. What we're doing is we're going getting more people to come on in. Page 16, Big Book, faith has to work in and through us 24/7 or we perish. God either is or he isn't. You're either pregnant or you're not. So, all right, that's going to be it. I will see you all tomorrow for daily reflection. I love you. Peace out and have a day.